Throughout my life, I've shared my heart and home with dogs, 3 of them bringing joy to my days right now. In those quiet moments when our eyes meet, whether with my own dogs or any animal, I feel transported briefly into their world, sensing a connection that transcends. What lies behind those knowing gazes? How do animals communicate within their species? How do they perceive their environment? These are questions that today's guest, Maribeth Decker, has dedicated herself to understanding. And now, Maribeth Decker. Hey everyone, Joy Brooks with Email and Coffee. I'm speaking with Maribeth Decker today, who's a fan of animals, an animal lover, an animal whisperer. Maribeth, tell us a little bit what you do and let the audience know how you might be able to help them.
Okay. Yeah, you definitely got me pegged right. My official title is animal communicator these days. That may change over the years, but that's what they're calling people who do what I do. And I help people connect and communicate with their beloved animals. I want to say pets, but I don't know if people think of horses as pets. And we've communicated with horses and donkeys and miniature mules and all this stuff. But it's the idea is these days we have a relationship with our animals. I was thinking about my husband telling me when his grandfather had beagles and they were all in the backyard, probably for hunting. And today I wake up and I have dogs and cats in the bed. They're not outside, they're in my bed. And there's a big switch there where they're part, at least for many of us, they're part of our family. So when we have I call them relationship problems, like they're anxious, so there's behavioral issues, or we need to tell them something about life that's changing. Somebody's leaving, somebody's coming in, find out what's going on with them. That's what I do. I also work with animals who are transitioning, and I wrote a book about that, Peace and Passing, Comfort for Loving Humans During Animal Transitions, because I gained a lot of knowledge, and I got a lot of people who wanted to put their stories in the book, so it worked out really well.
One of the things you mentioned when you mentioned horses and stuff is that I think people have always communicated with their animals, but it's gotten to the point where people get pets. Well, people get children, but some people shouldn't have pets. Some people don't know how to have pets. And what I'm sort of getting at is the relationships, the social relationships that we have, that humans have with other humans. Those spill over to the relationships we have with animals. The bully that pulls the cat's tail.
Oh.
They spill over, and animals are some animals. Some animals are very innocent, loving creatures that show no malice. And we teach them malice. We teach dogs how to fight. We teach some animals how to fight. And
We
things
do. We used
nature.
other animals as bait for them to help them fight. Yeah. Yep. I had what I believe was a bait dog, my dog T.
It's a bait dog.
He had a tough start, and we took a little while to help him realize. I like to say he won the lottery. He's in a family that loves him and wants him to have a happy life. It was unnecessary beginning for him.
I don't know when. I've talked to a lot of people, about when dogs became social, and some people have said that they would stay around villages in the very beginning of humankind. They'd stick around
Mhm.
villages and eat. It's sort of like, what happens with bears. If you leave garbage out and you're camping, you're inviting the bears. So they invited, without knowing it, they were inviting lots of animals, including dogs. And eventually, dogs are pretty smart. Dogs are pretty smart.
Mhm.
And they started socializing, barking, and humans realized, oh, they're barking, something's going on. And there's a relationship there and began to unfold very holistically,
Yep.
naturally. But cats are a little different, and a lot of other pets are different. Um, you know, the relationship that, there are people that are cat people and dog people, right?
I'm
And,
both.
some people,
I'm
right.
both. Okay,
I know,
I'm
I
not
know.
taking a side. I love them both.
And then there's some people that are afraid of animals and just don't like animals.
True.
I've experienced that. But and some humans will say, "Oh, if they don't, if my friend doesn't, or if my girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, doesn't like a dog, then I don't trust them." Right?
Mm.
Or I'm a cat person, you're a dog person. We can't hang together or something like that. But there are different personalities, and
Yeah. Right.
I'm an animal person. I really could care less. Snakes, not too. I don't know if I would have snakes. I don't mind rodents too much. They don't bother me too much. They're kind of cute. They're kind of cute as long as they're not running around my house without being invited. Then
Right.
they're not so cute. But when I invite them in, they're okay. But all of these relationships with animals have happened over the millennium. Thousands, millions of years that we've been around. So talking with them may be considered woo woo by some, but I don't think it's totally woo woo.
Thank you. I gotta say, well, thank you for going in that direction. The other thing I want to say is science is helping us say that animals are much more intelligent than we gave them credit for. I mean, they're even coming up with fish, and that was the story of the goldfish has a 5 second, you know, ability to focus on something, and they're coming up with the fact that all sorts of animals have all sorts of intelligence. They just don't express it like humans. Is could we like relax a little bit and start to see, you know, that our way might not be the only way, which would actually be useful for many areas of our lives. But 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 they're intelligent. There is so much stuff coming out, and you can watch it. I love Instagram now, where you can find all these short videos about animals' grief, animals taking care of what would be a prey animal, and then they bring them into the family. You've got mother cats nursing piglets. I don't know. You're seeing all sorts of things where
All sorts of things.
there's what we would call empathy. There's intelligence, problem solving. I can't remember all the facets of the studies, but like the dogs figured out what was going to get them the most treats and who wasn't going to get them treats, and so they figured it out how to game the system, and so there's thinking. There's a thinking mind. For me, there's an energy also that survives death. I don't believe that humans are the only ones. I do believe humans survive death. I've had my own experiences of that, but I gotta say, when I started learning energy healing, my dogs who passed were the ones who came first to me to connect with me. I'm like, my friend Mary said, I was telling her, and she says, well, that's called animal communication. It is? We're connecting, we're talking. I didn't know we could do that. I just think we're sometimes blind. And then we get brought up with the thing like we are the apex, we're the best thing ever created, and everybody is inferior.
And that we're the only ones with consciousness.
Yeah. Well, that's been thrown out. If you do your research, it's out there. There's a lot more people out there doing stuff. So they're even starting looking at species who have solved some problems that they thought, well, this might help human beings. Let's see how they do this. I'm sorry, I don't have examples, but they're looking at what they're doing to say, how could that help us solve some of the problems that we're facing? So once you get over that hurdle, then you say, well, okay, and how do I do it?
And how do you? I mean,
What can we discuss? What can we share? Why do I want to do it? What's in it for me, human? What's in it for them, non-human? It's a great
I
area.
mean, is it as it is it as simple as having just a quiet moment with your pet on the couch?
Wow, that's a good way to. That is an absolute connecting. There's a connection there. What you want to do what you want to do is see if there's a communication, which is receiving information or sending information. So if you're with your animal and you do get a sense that there's something coming through, I think that's communication for me. It might be as simple as I trust you. You're my human. That's cool. Or move your butt over. I need a little more room. Which I've had a few times. But yeah, that's a good start. The love connection, I guess, as I'm going to say, the love connection. The heart also has intelligence now. They figured that out. So you get that love connection going, and then you get the mental stuff, and you got the recipe for possibly hearing. Hearing is not a perfect word to describe it. For receiving in whatever way you receive, or sending in whatever way they pick it up. You've
Well, they
started the
are
process.
communicating because, you know,
Yeah,
they're telling you they're hungry. They're telling you they need to go out.
yeah.
They're telling
And
you there are things that, and we
of
take those
course,
almost for granted. So we've we congratulate ourselves when we finally potty trained our dog, and the dog goes to the door and lets us know, I need to go out. Well, we communicated that. We taught that to the dog. The dog
mhm,
figured it out. Oh, master wants me to go outside. And for me to go outside, I need to go through this door. Not the front door, not the side door, but this door.
yeah. And that's good. That's training. Yeah, that's the outside, the physical cues and the words and the
But
movement,
that's the
and
beginning of communication.
it is.
And we shouldn't just, leave it at that. I mean, there are, there's, when you have a baby, right? Let's do it that way. When you have a baby, you're making all sorts of oogie googie googie boo 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 noises to the baby. Ooh, doing all those things to the baby. And what you're essentially doing is communicating with the child, touching the child. Child laughs, you laugh. You're communicating in baby talk. Baby
Yes.
talk. And at some points in time, they're going to say mama, and you're going to go, oh my God, honey, she said mama. And, you're going to move on from there. Well, dogs don't necessarily say mama, but they do go to the door to let
Yep.
they learn that. And it's called training, but it's communicating with them.
It
Somebody
is.
said to me today or yesterday, whatever, how is it that cats know to go into litter? You don't even train cats. You put the box down, you put the litter in, and it's done.
Yeah.
The stupid little kitty walks right into the litter and goes by itself.
My cat is saying, "Did you say stupid?"
This little teeny little
My
kitty,
cat is like,
wow, this itty bitty kitty that you just got from the pet store, this cute little thing that knows nothing, You put it
figures it
down,
out.
you put the litter down, goes right over to the litter and goes in peace. No
I'm
training at all.
telling
Talk
Right.
about talk about smart.
That is smart.
Right?
That
Of
is
course,
smart.
they will also go in your lawn, but that's besides the point. What they're doing is, what we have done is we've learned from cats that they like sandy, dirty stuff, and they'll go in that, and we're providing it to them, and it's natural, and they're saying thank you very much, and they go for it. how I have never had a cat that's had an accident.
Oh,
Never, from day one. Never. Bring the
yeah.
cat home, itty bitty little thing, doesn't know its name. I don't mean stupid, but I'm just saying,
I
doesn't
know.
know
I'm
its
just
name, hasn't
teasing
got a
you.
clue. What am I in for? Am I an outside cat? Am I an inside cat? Do you have a nice couch? No clue. Goes right over to the litter box and goes, never had an accident with a kitty.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there is a totally different intelligence in a cat.
Yes.
And what are some ways for humans to understand facial expression of animals?
You know, Joy, that's not that is I'm going to say honestly, that is not in my that's not something that I've learned. I mean, I know it because I have cats and dogs, but that is not what I do. So
So if
I
you
would
had a
say
dog,
I connect with dogs who are in Canada with the ant while the human is in Paris. I am
wow,
not looking at the dog. I'm not looking at the cat.
don't- but
It's
with your
mind to
own dogs,
mind. So
have you ever? Because what I try to do all the time is
yeah,
with my dogs, I
yeah.
look at them and I try to figure out what they look like and what's going on.
Okay, so you're doing the
See if I
outside.
can the
You're
outside,
you're
and
looking at the
then
behaviors. That's good.
right, and then putting it together, because if it happens again, I want to see if that's what they look like again. Because
Okay.
then I'll be able to see a pattern. Like,
I'm asking
are
you
they
to shift a
afraid?
little. I'm asking you to shift a little.
Okay.
So it's not looking at them. In fact, I had a session this afternoon where the woman, well, she's in Ohio, so brought her cat in the room because she thought it was important. And I said, well, bring him up so I can see his face. I'll say hello to him, and then you can let him go wherever he wants. Because I don't want to be talking to a cat that's pissed off. I'd rather have talk to somebody who's just enjoying themselves. So it's a mind to mind communication. It's so just as we're going to go into a little bit. I like the quantum physics stuff because it just showed up to explain things. Everything's energy. So you've got the verbal, you can see what they're doing. You've got that. The waves of light are coming in, and the brain's saying, aha, your dog is growling, or aha, your dog is cowering. You hear my cat, and I look, and she's saying, could you please open the damn door, please? So I hear it and I know. So what this is their thoughts or their feelings, the energy of that is coming in to the brain, and the brain already has the ability to pick up energy and to convert it into knowledge. That's my best scientific way of explaining it. So I can ask why, what makes a dog so fearful, and I might see some pictures in my mind about what happened to them. Um, I That's just one example. I may be able to, as well as tell somebody what's going to go on. Like, you're a foster dog and you love your person, but you're going to go somewhere new, and that's going to be your forever home. And it's a visual and voice, somehow words.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
I've
So
tried that with my dogs.
yeah.
Or I shouldn't say tried because it makes it sound like I did it and never did it again. But I do that with the dogs. I do that. I
Okay.
try to like um think of a picture in my head,
Yeah.
um, and try to send it.
That's cool.
And one of the things that I'm having a problem with, Doc, no, one of the things I'm having a problem, one of the things I'm having a problem with is Tasha playing roughhouse with Molly, who's too old for her to play roughhouse with.
Yeah.
And Lucy doesn't do that. I have 3 dogs.
Yeah.
Lucy doesn't do that. Lucy really, isn't like that. But Tasha roughhouses,
Yeah.
and I've tried to. I say it out loud. Be gentle, and I think in my head, be gentle, and then I turn around and she's got her mouth around her neck.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's not gentle. Where did
That's
you
not
get that
gentle.
idea from?
And you're
And I
showing,
go ahead.
okay. Okay. So we talk about the kid stuff. Uh, and I don't mean these are our children, although we may call them that. But when you ask somebody to stop doing something, the most effective way to stop doing something is to do something else. So you don't just, you're right, right? The cigarette smoker's got to chew gum now or sucking a lollipop. I don't know. Um, to make it more effective, you show her doing something with Molly that would make you happy rather than upset the crap out of you,
Right.
scare you,
I try to
and scare
I try to
Molly.
I try to bring them together
Yeah,
and pet them both at the same time.
yeah,
Um, the problem is that Molly is blind and deaf.
yes. So she doesn't even
And
know it's coming half the
doesn't know
time.
it's coming. I put Lucy next to Molly, and she doesn't do a thing. I
Hmm.
put Tasha next to Molly, and at some point she starts to Molly starts to like get annoyed or get nervous. So she
Yeah.
does. It's not a familiar smell. She doesn't understand, and so maybe I've been talking to the wrong dog.
Well, there's part of that is that she knows enough to know what happened last time this being came around, and it wasn't pleasant. So already she's emanating the energy of, oh,
Yeah. Again, please, please,
please,
please
please don't
don't.
do it this time. And
I'm trying to pee. Please don't.
the,
And that's the thing, I put them outside. Lucy, Tasha's all excited to be outside. So, yeah, this morning she runs this way, runs that way. Molly's coming through, doesn't see anything, and Tasha runs right into her. And I heard it go boink. I'm like, oh my goodness! I'm thinking all the teeth
oh,
are gonna fall out of her. And I go
give me a
over to
sec.
her and let the kitty in. Kitty.
Kitty.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's okay.
And so,
So,
so they,
so I'm thinking maybe I'm talking with the wrong animal.
well, I like to say it's a relationship thing. There's at least two involved if somebody's talking. So, um, you pointed out to me when we had our earlier conversation that you let the other two work it out. But the reason it worked was there's a different vibration. I think probably said, like, don't even. I'm not.
Right.
Whereas Mally's oh, please, oh my God.
Yeah, but I also think
You know?
that Tasha, there's something in Tasha that either knows that she's older, and she's trying to, I can't, if, like I said, if she wanted to push her down, she could. And sometimes it looks like that's exactly what she's doing. But she's not being aggressive. She's being playful, push me down. She'll pick up her paw and she'll put the paw on her back. And I'm like, if she wanted to, she'd sock her in the face.
Yeah, and she's not doing that.
She's not doing that. So it's an odd type of a thing where I'm just trying to recognize the outside behaviors, and I'm going to
The
begin to
inside.
like have little conversations with them
Yeah.
internally. But
If
I never told Molly anything. I always talk to Tasha,
yeah,
who's
please.
she's 11 months old, so I'm essentially talking to a 3-year-old.
Yeah, yes, yes, a big 3-year-old.
A big
And
3-year-old.
yeah, and if what I do is a heart connection where you connect your heart to all three of you would be doing that. You would a heart to heart connection, and there you would say, Molly, this is a playful dog, and I'm sorry that it's so hard for you, but she doesn't mean badly. And maybe you give Molly some permission to just say, quit it. I don't want to play. Or whatever that is, you in your mind, because of course she's not seeing or hearing, but she
Right.
in the mind you could show her, and then you could show Tasha as well. Hey, I know you want to play with her. Obviously, you like her energy, but you got to be what gentle is, and you would show her
Now
in your
that's
mind
I have to show her
what
what
is
gentle is. That's a
gentle.
tough
You
one.
have to figure that out. Is it a little touchy nose touch, a little sweet pat, or a little lick? I don't know what she likes, and it's hard for a 3-year-old, a 11-month-old
11-month-old.
to have the ability to
Understand that.
understand and what is it, to restrain oneself from one's passion and what they want to do. It's not completely full grown yet, right? It's still very basic. Uh, but you also, as you're connected heart to heart, you share how much you love both of them, and you want Molly to have a really good life, and how being a different way with her will make you feel better, and you could actually feel that emotion for both of them. If maybe, I'm making this up, Tasha came over and just sat next to Molly and groomed her. And then when she wanted to play, she ran off and did something else. And then she'd come back and just hang out with her and put a little nose on her and say, yeah, okay, Grandma, I understand. And
You
then
know,
Grandma says, yeah, I can handle this. This is nice.
I've had grandma says, I've had I've had lots of dogs and they have never been cuddly.
Mm,
Never. Now they cuddle with me,
yeah,
but they don't cuddle with each other. Never. And I've always found that odd.
that is. So you could open up to show that picture, but you could, the other thing is, it's not like one and done. I mean, any time where something becomes a habit, whether it's human or non-human, there's a while to shift over.
Hmm.
You don't get perfect. Nobody stops. I don't know. Nobody stops eating ice cream if that's what they want to do with their life,
Hmm.
unless somebody else takes the ice cream and never lets them have it again. But
And then, then it's just a long process for the person, for them to break the habit. Now, dogs don't necessarily know. I don't know what they know, but do they know it's a bad habit? They're
well,
told don't do that.
there's more. So that's a really great piece. Most of the dogs that love us would like to feel the emotion coming out from us of joy, relief, happiness, contented. They don't really love oh, the angry, the scared. I don't even think they like the scared. Um, so not the internal training is almost saying, when I see you do this, and you're like picturing it, then you're sending like, oh, I'm so happy, and you're sending that emotion to them. So you've got the picture, you got a little bit of the thoughts, and then you're showing them the outcome. And if you have to, you go the other way and say, look, this is how I feel every time you do this, you two. I don't want that. I love you too much. Try this.
I've got to do some talking with them. I
I
usually
got
when I
another
go to bed
idea
at
for
night.
you. Okay.
Okay, but I was going to say that when I go to bed, I usually do a little bit of Joy Brooks meditation,
Yeah,
right? So I'll peacefully think about something,
nice.
or and what I did last night was like I don't try to solve a problem. I don't try to like I shouldn't have done that. I should have done this. That's not the peaceful way of going to sleep. It's more
Mm,
like, okay, everyone, I see everyone sitting around. Everyone's very happy. That type of a thing. And that's when I'm like, maybe I need to direct that to the dogs.
please do. Please do.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and you can
What were you
even,
going to
I
say?
don't know if we have time, we could do the heart meditation, right now if you want to try it. I mean, I don't know if that's too weird for you or you wanted to,
I was doing that yesterday, but I didn't get the green.
you didn't get the
I got
green.
everything but the green.
Okay. What did you get any, just no color, or just a
No
feeling?
color.
I
No
don't,
color.
I've come to realize that people and animals experience things differently. We all have different, ways we like different kinds of music. Well, we also experience energetic stuff differently. So as long as you felt it, assume it's working.
Well,
Especially,
that's exactly the point. I'm assuming that I'm communicating. It's just, I think I need to learn the language, like what's going to get across to them. And
yeah.
maybe I'm making, I think I mentioned something to you about the fact that are we perceiving that we're talking to them and it's just our consciousness that perceives that they, oh, look, they looked at me when I thought that, whatever. Or, you're like, I'm going to call them and I'm going to call them silently and they're going to come. And it didn't work this time, but it'll work the next time. We're making stuff up. Or are we?
Oh, that's a great question. Um, Well, I work with this great mentor, and I used to say imagination leads to intuition or the telepathic connection. And she says more strongly, your intuition is always going to feel like you're making it up. Get over it. I added the get over it. But here's the other thing is if you give yourself the grace to say, well, maybe I'm not making it up. See the energy that's different there? And it's almost like inviting more cool stuff to show up instead of shutting it down.
Mm.
Like, um, wow, maybe I'm not making up. Let's try calling the cat to bed again and see how long it takes him to show up. Or whatever. I think that's a more fun and useful route rather than beat yourself up about whether it's true or not. And then start looking for confirmation. You can either find confirmation that it's a bunch of crap, or you can find confirmation that, wow,
This
I'm
works.
starting to see some cool stuff happening here. Uh, and
I know for a fact that
mm,
um, that they say, oh, don't look an animal in the eyes, right? Because it's aggressive thing. Well, Lucy, which is the little dog, she'll
yeah,
be laying there watching. She'll be laying there and she likes to spoon wherever she can, and I'll be reading, and maybe I'll laugh because the book is funny, and she'll pick her head up and go like this and look at me, right at me,
yes,
eye to eye. And she's not moving. And she's saying, "What's so funny? What was that?
there you go.
Is that funny? Is that funny? Well, share it with me." And she's just saying what? She's not saying what's so funny. She's just saying what? What?
What was that all about? Yeah.
What was that all about? And I know that she's saying that. She's staring right at me, eye to eye. And Tasha has, Lucy has, I call them cow eyes,
Oh,
big brown eyes
yeah.
that when you look at a cow, it's saying everything to you. It's like I'm sacred, and my mother was sacred, and my mother's mother was sacred. And when I mean, they just go. A cow has a whole language. I'm sorry. Also, so do horses. But usually, I don't know. I feel like I'm going to the farm. Um, the conversation you have with a horse and a conversation you have with a cow, conversation you have with a dog, who all can have the same brown expressive eyes. They're all different conversations. And I've had those conversations
There
before.
you go. There you go.
The horse says, I'm not so sure I trust you. The cow says, ooh, who are you? Ooh, and my dog's going, what? What? So, I mean, there are these conversations, and as I
There
said,
are.
am I making it up? I don't think so. I
I don't
have
think so
these
either.
these very simplistic conversations with animals.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, we're not talking about splitting the atom. No,
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 no, they're not
no,
interested. They could care less.
no. We're having
But
very simple things like,
and you know what, the looking in the eye thing, I really focused on that because I think the difference is generally is that there's a some kind of a good, you've created some kind of a good connection. So now they're not seeing the staring at them in the eye is some kind of you talking to me sort of thing. It's not aggressive at all because you guys have somehow you created a certain energy of, hey, just checking in, what's going on. Oh, okay. It's your energy that's creating it, Joy. Okay,
it's
okay.
total trust. Yes.
Before we forget, one
Okay.
more
Go.
thing that I found that's really useful is when we see repetitive behaviors that we dislike, our energy starts to expect it because it keeps happening. That becomes part of the wheel that keeps turning it. I noticed it for myself. When my two previous dogs, they could be very, very barky, and my one guy, he was 50 pounds, and so he looked like a big black dark dog, and we finally got it. So I'd start out with the walk saying, this walk could be different. We could have a really nice walk, and it started working really, really well. And I'm like, oh, I'm not putting out the expectation that this is all going to go terribly. I'm like holding the space. And I really got the confirmation when I was walking in the neighborhood and they were doing so nicely. And a lady comes up to me and she says, oh, your dogs are so well behaved. And out of my mouth comes, oh, but you should see them when. And the two dogs started barking like nuts. Like, I just created that. I just created that. And I was doing so well. And human, so I go, that's my suggestion. You can't get into the energy of what's not true, but you could get into the energy of maybe it's not always going to be like this, or what if things got better, and who knows, maybe today. Thank you for letting me share that. That was really important for me to understand.
You're welcome. I have a friend that comes over because my dogs don't see a lot of people. I don't have kids. I don't have family that comes by. I have a few friends, and one of the friends is a little afraid of dogs, and she's a small woman. And Tasha's big, right? So I said to her, I said, we like to walk. Would you like to walk with the dog, and would you like to walk Tasha? And she says, yeah, I'd like to do that. And what will happen is we'll be walking, and it will be wonderful. Tasha's pulling her a little bit, but at some point she stops pulling. But in the same spot, Tasha will act out. So she'll start to jump up and down. And if she stands up, Tasha stands up, she is as tall as my friend. And that bothers me because I know that she's pushing her limit. She's like, I can get away with this. And she's just having fun. Right? She's not maliciously saying, oh, I'm going to hurt her feelings. I'm going to get away with it. She's like, let's have fun now. Let's have fun. I can get away with this. I can get away with this. And I'm like, Mary, you have to be, firm. So she'll use my voice. And I'm like, she'll be like, no. And I'll be like, oh. All I need to do is grab the dog. And I'm a little, I could be rough. But I don't like when Tasha takes advantage of anything.
Right.
I don't like that. That's a bully. I don't like that. I'm sorry. So I'll just grab her and she'll stop immediately. And I'm thinking, okay, so what is it that she's doing to Mary that she won't do to me?
The energies are
pushing
different.
the limit. She's a 3-year-old pushing the limit.
Yeah, she is. Because of the difference in how we're showing up for her.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I might try to have, I'll try to tell her, talk to Molly in her head.
Yeah.
And say, don't do that. I don't like that.
Yeah.
You're hurting my feelings.
Yeah.
Because it really is. One of the reasons why I wanted Tasha to walk with Mary was I wanted Mary to feel more confident with dogs.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people who don't have dogs are really scared of dogs.
They are.
And they don't necessarily want to admit that. They'll just say, I don't like dogs. What they mean is, I'm petrified of dogs. And trust me, I've been bitten by dogs. I understand. Animals have quite a bit of brute strength and they could do odd things. And some of them are, trained or beaten into them. And some of them are just reactions.
Yep.
And they have a mouth, they have sharp teeth, they have paws, they can hurt you. They can hurt you. And the bigger the dog, the more they can hurt. And I knew that when I got Tasha. That's one of the reasons why I got a husky was I wanted a bigger dog. Not that it would hurt people, but I wanted a dog I felt safer with. So I wanted a watchdog. I have a 16-year-old Cocker Spaniel, and I have a 9-year-old Boston Terrier. The Boston Terrier is teeny. Everyone says, oh, is that a miniature boxer? No. No. It's a Boston Terrier. Really? Yeah. I think I know what kind of dog I have. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so I had those two dogs, and I was like, I want a bigger dog, and I don't, I'm not making a statement like I've had a Rottweiler. It never was a statement to get the Rottweiler. We got a Rottweiler and I loved her to death. But everybody was like, oh, you have a Rottweiler, I'm afraid. And rightly so. Again, they're big dogs.
They are big dogs.
She was the sweetest thing in the world.
I was going to say, but I've met some sweeties, I'll tell you.
Sweetest thing in the world.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's difficult. Do you get a lot of people that come to you with very severe behavioral problems? Like, could you talk about something how you resolve something that I'm not talking about murder, but something that was a problematic in the household?
Yeah, well, I do, and probably because of my own experience. What's coming to mind is my own story with my dog Tibor. So I'm going to use that, but I do work with people in that kind of situation. Thank you. So I'm looking at his picture over here. He passed away a couple years ago, and he still shows up on walks, though. But Tibor came to us about a year and a half with lots of broken teeth, lots of gashes and things like that. And he didn't even want to come in the house. And we knew that this is not a guy that you want to force, because he was getting, close to the 50-pound point. And so a little bit of backstory. He's the guy that got me started in animal communication, because I would sit on the couch with him and I kept getting this vision of thing where the German Shepherd chases the guy in this heavy, thick clothing to teach him how to grab people and take them down. And I also got the picture of T being a bait dog for some kind of a fighting dog thing going on. And that was a couple of times. He was bad enough that when we talked to the rescue, that they said, no, you can bring him back. And we're like, no, we just wanted to ask about him. So he comes in and he's starting to enjoy life, and he jumps in the bed with me. I'm like, that's okay. Big dogs come in the bed and there's room for me, my husband, a couple dogs. Then my husband starts to get in, and T lifts his teeth and growls at him. I'm like, ooh, we're not having this. This is not going to work good for this family. So I used animal communication to say, we really love you, but this is actually our bed. You're a guest. You can jump up anytime you want, and I'm going to get you a new bed. I had a bed that was used by another dog. I said, no, I'm getting you your own bed. That's yours to sleep with. I will not even let the cats sleep on your bed. I will pick them up and take them off. That is your bed. He got it. He came up, he'd jump, he'd hang out with us, and then he'd go to his bed. He'd come and he'd look, and there was a cat on his bed, and he'd look up at me. I said, yes, I'll get the cat off the bed. It's yours. And he was able to live with cats. So there are many things that you can shift when you understand where they're coming from and what they need, and ask them to release that old history so that they can live a really good life. It's not perfect, but things do get better, especially when you know you've got a loving family, so you can kind of trust that they're telling you the truth, and life is going to be good. And I guess I'll stop there.
The truth is something that is, it's a big word, because I don't think animals understand lies. So if you tell an animal something, like, we're going to go for a walk, and then, you go off to the bathroom, and that's the end of that. They're going to learn to distrust what you say.
Yeah.
Or ignore you.
It's true. It's true. I had to make sure I was really clear. I know, well, I got a girl who's waiting to go for a walk now, and I had to say, I said in my mind, I said, we're going to go. You just got to wait. And she's okay with it. She's not thrilled. But my little Mac cat would come up here, because he liked me to throw bouncy balls. He's a cat, but he liked bouncy balls. And he'd bring the bouncy ball up, and I'd say, okay, I'll take a break. We're going to do it. Or I'd say, Mac, hold on. I got to do this people thing for about 15 minutes, and I'll take a break and go play with you. And he was like, oh, okay. Okay, human.
And he's like,
yes, honestly. Honestly, thank you.
yeah, it's, I have been told that I talk too much to my dogs, and that I should train them. And I am often thinking, I don't want a trained animal. I want to be able to talk to them. I mean, if I had a child, I wouldn't want the child to say, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. Yeah, I would want the child to respect, to understand that they're saying yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, but they're saying they understand what they're saying, not that they're just saying it. So,
Thank you.
and I want the same thing from an animal, and I tend to talk too much to them, a lot, too much.
I don't know. There was I wish I knew her name now, but there was a dog trainer who was trying to kill that idea that you talk too much to your animals. She had her people come in one day, and she did things like sit, stay, go into the bathroom, and it was all curt, short stuff. And they're like, "Are you mad at us? Is there something wrong?" She says, "No, I'm just showing you what it might be like to be a dog that's trained that way." And they're like, "Oh." If it's not relationship based with equal amounts of respect for who they are and who we are, I'm with you, Joy. I think you're moving in the wrong direction. Yeah, you can teach them some things, but it's got to respect their autonomy as well as yours.
They are, they have their own little lives, and
They do.
especially the so we'll take a walk, and there'll be dogs or squirrels, right? Or
Squirrels.
sometimes cats, right? So and birds. Birds are a tough one. Birds are a tough one because I think when they see birds, not so well, maybe squirrels too, but birds, it's just an instant mouth thing.
Mine is
Instant,
squirrels.
right? Instant mouth. It's
It
just like,
is.
oh. And I mean, it happened to us. It was in the spring, and Tasha was maybe 7 months old, 6 months old. And there was a bird outside, and I'd helped it the night before. The bird. It was a baby robin. And then in the morning, it was out again. But so was Tasha.
Ooh.
And I couldn't get out there fast enough.
Yeah.
And it was done in an instant.
Yeah. Oh,
And the
I
mother
was talking
bird.
about I have not, luckily, my squirrels are fast enough to move. The dog has been safe.
The
They've been
mother
safe.
bird was on the fence.
Oh, shoot.
And I looked up at here I talk too much. I'm talking to the mother bird, and I'm going, "I'm sorry, Mom. I'm so sorry. But your baby's gone." And I really, when I tell you this, I got like a towel. I put the baby on the towel, and I left it out there, figuring maybe the mother will, I don't know,
Say
some sort of
goodbyes.
say
Give it some
bye.
love.
And then I was like, what am I going to do with this thing? I can't bury it in the lawn. If I bury it in the lawn, my dog's going to
Oh,
dig
that's
it
right.
up, right? So I kept it in a shoebox for like a week or so, and trying to figure out, okay, at some point in time, somebody's going to tell me what to do. And then I threw it away. I threw it away. Because what else was I going to do?
I know.
And I thought, okay, you know what? It's getting buried. It's getting buried with lots of good food. Okay. It's getting buried with lots of good food.
I think that the fact that you cared enough to see if you could do something different, that means a lot. And at some level, that they're released from their body and they're okay. But there's respect and love is never a wasted emotion. Those are not wasted emotions. Somewhere, somehow, I don't know, the planet thrives on that anyway, right?
People
I'm
probably
hoping.
would think that I'm a little crazy, but I just,
I
I,
do not.
I have seen lots of videos with crows, and they're very intelligent. Have you
Yeah.
ever had an interaction with a crow?
I tried to talk with one because he was having a really big conversation with me. I was really trying to see if I could talk crow for a little while. I wasn't very successful, but yeah, there's a lot going on there.
I am fascinated by crows.
Yeah.
I mean, birds, yes, but especially crows.
Yeah.
So when I am walking outside, and there will occasionally be like a whole bunch of crows somewhere, I just look up.
Me too.
I don't say anything. I look up and sometimes I say hello. I'm fascinated by crows. A friend of mine has a relationship with a crow, with a
Yeah,
wild
I've
crow.
read about that. I'm kind of envious.
Yes,
Yeah.
very envious.
Yeah, a friend of mine, he had a pet crow when he was a kid. He told me about that. Steal his people's stuff and keep a little stash. Well, I don't know what's that. What's it like with your friend's pet? Oh well, friend crow.
Well, the thing is, it's apparently all up to the crow when the crow wants to be friends with her,
Mm,
and she's occasionally videoed it. So it's it will be the crow comes flying down, and she's able to feed it, and the crow comes right over to her.
wow.
So I'm wondering, is it a wild crow that's had a relationship, or there was once, it was an odd thing. I remember when I was very young, my father walked outside and there was it probably was a fledgling, I don't know, but it was a robin, and male robin because it had a red breast. Um, and it flew right onto his hand.
Wow.
I was like, okay. And
That's
it hung around for the day and then flew off.
wow. And so,
Yeah.
and you know what? That's interesting because they say the cardinals will come around. I'm going really woo woo here, but
Right.
we'll
Cardinals,
do it. You
Cardinals have
know,
something
but
to
I
do.
thought I wonder if robins will do it too, and say hello from one of your relatives just coming by to tell you that they're doing fine, and the robin says, "Yeah, yeah, you could do that for a couple of minutes, and then just give me my life back, and we're good."
Odd wild animals. What has been your oddest wild, animal that you've talked with? And right now, Tasha's beating the heck out of Molly. Would you like to
Okay.
talk to Tasha and Molly right now?
He, yeah, we'll see what we can
No,
do
no,
here.
I don't.
You
I don't want
too.
to yell.
All right, I was gonna say,
Tasha, honey,
Tasha,
Tasha, honey, come,
Tasha, give her a break. Come
come here,
on, babe.
Tosh,
Come over and
Tosh,
say hello, will you? I
come
haven't seen you
on,
today.
come on.
Well, we're
What
connected.
was the oddest animal that you've ever
Oh,
talked
this
with?
is my best story. Uh, I was visiting my daughter in Australia. She was working on Daydream Island near the Great Barrier Reef. Uh, I'm- and we were hanging out by the pool. Um, and I went into the women's bathroom, and there was a kangaroo there. Yeah, and it was about as tall as me. I'm just 5 foot, and it's looking at me, and I got the distinct impression that it was really nervous about this. Like, so here it is. I'm going to put it in human terms because it's more fun. She's chewing on a toilet paper roll like it was a piece of gum. And she's looking so guilty. And I'm thinking, I remember when my mom would say to me, "Don't chew your gum. You're not a cow. Close your mouth." Like, she's like, "Oh, you caught me." So I went in there and I looked at her and I said, "Look, you got your thing to do. I got mine. I got to go to the bathroom. I'm just going to walk around you, walk into the stall." And she let me through. And I got in the
Mate?
stall. What's that?
All right, mate.
All right, mate. Very good. Well done. And left, and then I hear this little boy screaming, "Daddy, Daddy, there's a kangaroo in the bathroom." You got to do it in an Aussie term. I can't do
Daddy, Daddy.
it. Yeah. But
There's a
what so
room in the
amazing,
bathroom.
yeah, that we just agreed that nothing would happen. And later on, I saw these pictures about kangaroos leaning back on their tails, and then they use their feet and hands to really beat you up, and it was just fine. We just had an agreement that we would each do our own thing, and I had so much fun with that. So that's my story.
I It's they do something like, I don't know if you've ever had rabbits.
No, I have not. I mean, my friends
So
have, but I have not.
I oh, here's a good story. My brother-in-law passed away, and it was in the winter. And a few weeks later, I look in my backyard and there's a big white bunny. And there are not a lot of rabbits in my neighborhood, especially big white bunnies.
Yeah.
Right? You know, I mean, big white bunnies, no. So it's not Easter or anything. It was Decemberish, December, January. So I took the bunny. I went outside. Bunny let me pick it up, brought it in the house. I'd never had a bunny before. I'm like, what am I going to feed it? Oh, lettuce. So here I'm feeding it lettuce. Well, I also found out they like wires.
Oh.
Oh, yes. Yes. They like wires. They like odd things. So I had a small dog crate. I put the bunny in the dog crate, and I got, you know, bunny food and all that kind of stuff. And the bunny would let me play with it. But when the bunny was angry, it would thump. And I thought to myself, Thumper.
Yeah.
Now I know why they called him Thumper. It would take its back paws and push him down on the ground. Push, 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 push. One,
Ooh.
like boom, 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 thumping. It'd be like and if I continued to do that, it would nip at me. I
Oh,
was like,
so it's
okay,
kind of,
so
it's like the
obviously
growl, the version of the the
he's not
dog
too
growl.
thrilled with whatever I'm doing, put him down. So I did learn that, and then my husband insisted. He said, "Get rid of that bunny." I'm like, "What am I? Why? What?" He goes, "George, that bunny is eating us out of wires. Every single wire in the house was eaten through."
Oh, shoot.
So I thought to myself, okay, so somebody probably did this once before. I had to do a horrible thing. I had to do a horrible thing because this was, I don't know, 2000. And I guess I just didn't think of bringing it to, if I brought it over to the pet store, I don't know. I
You
didn't
don't
think
want
of
to do
doing
that. Yeah. Yeah.
it. I just put it in the car and I drove it down the block. And I was like, okay, you've been here before, Bunny. You've done
Good
this
luck.
before. I'm sorry, Bun. You know, but I really
Mhm.
did think it was my brother-in-law.
Oh, that's cool.
And I said, I secretly called the bunny John. It was Johnny. I'm like, Johnny, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I didn't know what to do. Didn't know what to do. And there was another occasion with another dog, and this happened to be my brother-in-law's dog. So when my brother-in-law passed away, he left um, a pit bull mix,
Oh.
Rusty. And my brother-in-law liked to train his dogs to be a little aggressive.
Uh,
We had two dogs, so I took Rusty in. And Harry told me, my husband told me, it's like, just be aware. Don't leave Rusty with the other dogs until we get an idea of what's going on. He goes, because Johnny
I don't know.
Johnny liked to roughhouse his dogs. I'm like, okay, well, go to bed that night. And all the dogs get into bed. Very, very similar story to yours, except when Rusty got into bed, he took my husband's hand, put it in his mouth, and would not let go. Did not lock it. I'm sorry,
You
did
just
not.
held it? Just
He
held it.
locked. He locked, and you could not. I mean,
Oh, you
these
couldn't get it
pit
out.
bulls are known for locking their jaws. So
Yes,
it
they are.
didn't hurt him. He essentially said, "No, not on my watch." My husband rolled around and he said, "Get rid of this dog tomorrow." And we eventually got his hand out.
Whoa.
But and I called, at that point I made a few phone calls, and when I brought the dog in, they said this dog can be aggressive. And I'm like, yeah. Like, I didn't want to answer the question with a yes, so I answered the question with a question. Yeah. And he said, if we don't get somebody to take this dog, we're going to have to euthanize him. And I'm like, I can't solve this problem.
No.
What was I going to do? Have my husband, fight in the house over this dog? And I don't know what the dog might have done or I do know of a time where the dog did attack someone. So I was, when my husband said, watch this dog, I was aware, okay, this dog, I don't think he's going to attack me, but he could, or he could attack my dogs, and I don't know what he's made of.
Yeah.
So,
really
it's kind of sad.
It is really sad.
I've had some situations with animals that I'm not proud of.
Yeah. Yeah, I was given a dog in the Navy while I was still drinking, and I was like a D plus dog person. I mean, finally got sober. My mom and dad took her when I got stationed in Japan, but I actually when I learned to do animal communication, because I wasn't terrible, but I wasn't good. Let's just be that way. I apologized to her. I said, I'm doing a lot better. I know I screwed up, but I've learned a lot, and I'm a much better dog person than I was when I had you, girl. So I felt like I made amends because I talked to her, one, and two, I changed my behavior. Now I know it's not the same as what you were going through, Joy. That's much different, but that was helpful for me, being able to at least just say, look, I'm sorry, and I'm doing better now. I'm a much better person than I was when you were with me.
I think, the moral of the story is that it's not that animals are people too, but we have lots of relationships in life, and we learn from our human relationships, but we don't think about learning from our animal relationships.
Thank you.
And they are learning experiences.
They are.
And if we learn how that communication works, it's like learning a different language.
It is.
Right?
It is.
So if we learn that language, we may be able to see things that we've never seen before. And I know that sounds woo-woo and all that kind of stuff. And I really don't care, because I can't imagine. I look at my dogs and I know they're thinking.
Absolutely.
They know what time to wake up in the morning.
Yeah.
They know what time they get fed. They know what time my husband used to come home. They even knew what sound the car made when he come home.
Yeah. Yeah.
All those things. So they were they knew what was going on. They were quite aware of what was going on.
Yeah.
So if it's that simple, and it really is that simple, there's stuff going on in their heads that it's not simple to hear the car 2 miles away before it comes home.
Joy, I got to tell you, there's a book that I just love. It's called Dogs That Know When Their People Are Coming Home. And it was written by I think, this guy with a PhD from both Yale and another big place in the UK. And he did a study about that, and that there was, I would call it psychic. Like they not only knew from the sound, they knew when their person was getting up and getting ready to leave the office, because the person at home was documenting the times they started to get into that, and the person at the office was documenting the time they were leaving. And this is a scientist saying this stuff.
Oxford?
Yeah. Thank you. It's real, and you got to read it like it's not a novel. You pick it up and you read a story, and you read another piece, and you read another piece. It's pretty heavy, but there's stuff out there that supports what you know.
Yeah, and as I said, I I'm an animal person, but I'm also.
Somebody behind you.
Who's that? Oh, hello, Lucy. Come here. Come here.
Hi.
Come here. Yeah, come here.
It's good to see you, Lucy.
Oh, okay. She ran away.
Okay.
She
Okay.
ran
Well, I
away.
got to say hi. That was good.
It's it's Halloween, everyone. So there's probably children running up and down the block. At which point she's like, "There's somebody running up and down the block." That's what she's telling me. Scary. They're wearing scary things, Ma. So, is there? Oh, then now here comes Molly. Is there? Oh, that's not good. Molly comes out. That's not good. Is there some story that you want to share? Some story, as a way to round out our conversation that you have.
Oh, okay. Give me a couple seconds here. I want to think about what's most useful. Telling a lot of my own stories. I hope that's okay.
That's okay.
Okay. I started out by talking about my book, Peace and Passing. And I really believe that we don't just pick our animals, they pick us. I think there's something that goes on there. But I had the most extraordinary experience when my two dogs and my cat died within 5 weeks of each other a couple years ago. And so the night before Tibor, who was the guy I was telling you about with the tough beginning, I had this incredible dream where I was walking with him, with Stella, who the dog who had passed a month before, and with Mitsubishi, the Siberian Husky, who was her big brother and passed about 10 years. And we were all walking around with these huge number of dogs, just running free. And it seemed like it was kind of a hospital setting, though. And all of a sudden, this fourth dog, they pull the dog over, and the fourth dog starts running with us. And I'm like, well, that's interesting. I get a good picture of him, and I see him. And the next day, T literally passes away. So turns out the dog that we ended up with looks exactly like the dog in my quote unquote dream is here now. He's part of the family. He was in a dog hoarding situation. He was so fearful that they didn't think he was ever going to get adopted. But my dogs, talk about abilities, they showed me who was coming next in the family. So we brought him home, and he's a great boy. He's a good guy. And so extraordinary things can really happen when you start to open yourself up to what our animals are capable of communicating and what we're capable of communicating with them. It's just amazing to me.
Mm-hmm. And what I can only leave the audience with is some of the methods that are used to meditate. You can use those to communicate.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, you can.
And practice those, because the worst case scenario is it's calming. That's the worst case scenario.
That's true.
Because there I was talking with Tasha last night, and tonight I'm going to talk to Molly, not Tasha. I'm talking with Tasha last night, and as I said, before I go to sleep, I have this little exercise that I do in my head. So I'm talking with Tasha, and I'm fighting falling asleep, because I know I'm not too focused right now. No, I want to end this conversation before I know. So I'm trying, and I ended up falling asleep. But I was trying to send Tasha, like I was trying to see a green light, which I didn't see. I was trying to exchange a light as a connection. And I was like, that's not working. So just talk, just focus in pictures and in easy words and connect with her. Just do that. So that's when I fell asleep, but that's what I was doing. So I'll
Yes.
do that tonight with Molly.
Do that. Yeah.
And I'll do that for a few nights and I'll see what I could do.
I'd love to hear how it goes.
I will let you know.
All
I will
right,
let you know.
good.
If people are interested in connecting with you, I mean, do you do sessions with people, and how do people connect? Like,
I do.
what would
I
be a way
do.
for someone to get to you and connect for a service?
The best way is to go to my website, sacredgrove.com, sacredgrove.com. And I do individual sessions. Most of them are remote, so it doesn't matter where you live. And there's a number of different services, but basically the individual sessions where I help you connect and communicate with your animal and see if you can get something moving. I call it animal communication for PAW, PAW, sensitive changes. So that's really my goal.
Well, I thank you for what you do. I think, if you had mentioned before, if people acted this way as human beings, the way they do with some animals, it would be probably a better world. We all need to realize there are various ways of solving the same problem. It's just,
Thank you.
and just calm down, because give somebody the chance to solve the problem. Just, a little bit of grace, just a little bit.
There you
And
go.
then you could smack them. No, I'm kidding. No, yay. Kidding.
But you could think about it and let it go.
Yes, you could think about it. Well, it's been great talking with you. I want to keep in touch.
You
I'll tell
too.
you how my animals grow.
All right.
And I wish you the very best.
Thank you. It's been such a pleasure talking with you, Joy. Thank you.
And that's a wrap. Thanks so much.
Thanks.